welcome back to our channel. Today we thought we'd do a little video about stereotypes of mental illness, well, around people with mental illness. As we know, they're probably getting less and less as like the awareness is growing, but there are some main stereotypes that we think are still quite often there. So the first stereotype is people with mental illness are dangerous and unpredictable. I think that really depends on the mental illness, and I think there probably are some people with mental illness who are dangerous and unpredictable, but that's going to be
people without as well.
Yeah, but that's going to be on like the scale, like that's going to be like
end scale, of like probably them being 100% controlled by the illness and what illness it is. For example, someone who might have, this is a bit too far as well, Split. It's about a dual personality of like, I think it's like 9, and he's literally controlled by that personality. Now I've watched documentaries about a woman who has like 4 or 5 different personalities, and she only becomes herself like once a year, and she sees her daughter once a year technically, so she's controlled by it. But then it depends on the characters that she's controlled by, so it's completely to the individual.
I mean, Split, I don't know if that's based on a true story or not. Don't think so.
If it is, I'm a bit worried, mate.
But he turns into some sort of creature.
Yeah.
But yes, like there probably are some people who are dangerous and unpredictable, but like Sam says, people with mental illness and without. Most people with mental illness, you wouldn't even know that they've got a mental illness. You wouldn't even know that there was anything wrong with them unless you started to spend a little bit more time with them. That's when you start to see things that might not look quite right.
Yeah.
But most people, they're so, I think they're more of a danger to themselves than they are anyone else around them, really. Like a lot of things, if we were going to say anything.
Yeah, I meet so many people and I'm like, oh my god, my friend has depression, and I'm like, oh my god, I would have no idea. And I don't tell anyone about my OCD, and people don't know until they know.
Actually, saying that, I think some people with mental illness are more predictable than they are unpredictable. Oh, I see what you mean, they're often in so many, like, in routines and things like that, and they often,
good point,
their mind doesn't sort of let them out of the box that they think in.
They're almost afraid to be unpredictable because they like to be predictable and know what they do.
In control of what they're doing.
Yeah.
And
it would be if they had kind of got to the end of their tether. Yeah. And were kind of at that explosive point where they couldn't take it anymore. That's where I think maybe it would go. But we're just talking about it, and we'd love to hear if you guys have any other views on it or anything that might contradict us or something. We'd love to speak to you about it. Next one is people with mental illness are incompetent. And I have one example which is totally the opposite to this, and that's a lot of really, really successful people have really, really severe OCD, and how they've got, obviously through hard work, but how they've got there is everything has to be so perfect and so on point that's what makes them successful, is them being obsessed with being successful and being perfect and getting the best result gets them there. That's different for everyone, but we know a couple of people who have been down that route and have been successful but had OCD, and it's been really interesting actually to find that out.
So there is obviously another side, and yes, for some people, like, I think calling it incompetent isn't quite the right thing, because what it does,
it's just like,
it's not their fault. It's not because they can't do it. It's because their mind is so full that, well, they can't do it.
They're already doing stuff that's taking it up.
Yeah, so obviously it can come across as sometimes people who are really struggling with mental illness are like incompetent, but it is purely because when you look behind the screen, it's because their mind is so full.
And also, I mean,
it's concentration as well.
Yeah, depending on how bad it is, it can obviously restrict the person, say, from having a full-time job or being able to have a hobby or hold down a relationship,
or be in a room with certain people, or be in a room with certain foods, or be around certain conversations, isn't it? It's just being open to that and being aware that there's so many different reasons, rather than just either being because they couldn't be bothered or because they can't do it. Yeah. So the next one was people with a mental illness deserve blame for their condition. So, no, really.
No.
Obviously, I think this isn't so much now. I think because like mental illness is a lot more in the open, but a lot of people are still like, well, they just need to sort themselves out. They got themselves in the predicament. But
no one would choose to have a mental illness, like a severe mental illness. No one would choose to have that.
Why would you choose to have a war in your head, constantly fighting with yourself?
Yeah, that would stop you living your life to the full.
And it's nothing that they've done. Like, it's just so unfortunate. If someone's struggling with a mental illness, it might be because of something that's happened in their life. It might just be a really unfortunate thing that it's just come about.
The way they're programmed.
Yeah. And so blame is actually the worst thing you can put on someone who has a mental illness. And their families as well.
Yeah. Totally agree with
placing blame on anything is just really unproductive. The last and our fourth stereotype is people who suffer from mental illness believe there is no hope. That is quite a hard one to explain because there are a lot of people who do believe that, but there are a lot of people who are suffering who are really striving to get better. They do believe there is hope. It's just a really difficult journey and it can take years and years and years. But they do believe the end of the path is there. It's just there are still a lot of people who think that nothing can be done.
So having suffered from it, and you probably had it from a carer's point of view, where you're like, how do I get out of this? Like, where's the end? Like, how do I get rid of this? Like, it seems so impossible to do. And you just think it'll just be a lot easier to live with it and I just can't do it. That's how I felt a lot of the time. And you were probably like, you know, I don't know what to do. How do we get rid of it? It's just going to be there. But it's just finding different routes and finding different
people for opinions as well. And just making sure you've got loads of knowledge.
And never giving up.
But it is one of the reasons a lot of people with mental illness keep it to themselves and don't search for help. Because they do believe that stereotype that there is no hope. But for a lot of people, I'm not sure the statistics, we should have a look, but I know for like anorexia and things like that, they're quite high statistics for people who either fully recover or live, you know, a pretty normal life, kind of them managing the condition rather than condition managing them. So, and with OCD as well, there are a lot of statistics in favour of recovery. So it's just getting through that initial...
and just changing your mindset. Because there's hope for mental illness.
Give me a H.
Okay,
we're
so
do that.
That's what we have for today. We hope you guys found it interesting. We definitely had a nice little discussion over it, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we will see you in our next video.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Bye.